All right, here is the big one. This is the additional response to Assassin's Creed Shadows with all the controversy and everything going on, and I want to give my opinion to Ubisoft's additional rebuttal. Now, two things before I start the video. I'm going to make this really simple. I know media literacy is dead. I know people have the attention span of a gerbil, but please, for the love of God, watch the entire video before you comment, because it was some folks saying I didn't rule out the possibility of some Japanese people being angry about this, when I said, yeah, some people are probably angry about this, and some others over there probably either don't give a fuck or saying that all Japanese people are angry and trying to speak for them, alongside the fact that you should question the credibility of some people on Google Translate pretending to be professors when they're really white guys. Yeah, you should question that. There is no reason why that shouldn't be made fun of if people are caught out to be frauds and exposed. All right. It's just a given situation. The same for the Thomas Lockley thing. If he was exposed for being a fake, then he was exposed. He was put out there in the world. He was frauding, right? If he was frauding, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt on both sides. Again, it's super funny when people have to pretend to be Japanese LARPers and not themselves, but you should really listen to the end of the video from start to finish and understand that I know there are probably some people out there that are Asian making videos like that, and it's like some people probably are on the bandwagon also making rage bait videos to get attention, to get negative reception, because I mean, this is the popular thing on YouTube now, is to chase a giant topic, and if you're negative, that's like double points, right? I know how the algorithm works. I know how this shit works. This is how videos are coordinated these days. Secondly, I also want people to know that I will be playing this game sometime near launch. I won't be getting it sometime near launch, but I do believe that this is a situation of folks prejudging a game before it's released, and I think that's fine to look at trailers and try to shape your thoughts before you buy a game, but I think there are folks that made their mind up that won't be giving this a chance at all because they are pushing narrative agenda. They're like, well, fuck this, I'm not going to give it a fair shake. I'm just going to focus on the drama aspect of Yasuke and not liking Yasuke and how he is portrayed versus playing the game and seeing how the story plays out for themselves. I think there are going to be two different people invested into this game near launch time as it was when it was first announced. There's going to be people that are grifting, and there's going to be people that are actually wanting to delve in and give constructive, nuanced opinions to how they feel about the game in general. And I fall to the latter. I want to see what the game is like. Is it good, and is it not good in areas? And I'm going to be nuanced about it. That's how I feel about my coverage of AC Shadows, but I may be on vacation, so you won't get any thoughts probably until like either later or next year, honestly, because I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. That being said, here's Ubisoft's response to this whole shebang. To our esteemed Japanese community, a message from the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. First, we want to express our heartfelt thanks for all your support for the Assassin's Creed series, which now has its own history spanning almost 20 years. Over this time, we have explored various settings, time periods, and characters, from an assassin during the Third Crusade to a Viking in the 9th century England, and countless more. Sort of signifying that, yes, this is our history, this is our historical backdrop, introducing these elements that were placed within a time period that probably happened, but we also are changing elements along the way, taking our little liberties and moving into historical fiction. So they're setting up the reminder already right there for the AC games they cover in the past. Many of our team creating an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan has been a long cherished dream, which again, we've wanted AC Japan for the longest, and then I think that Ghost of Tsushima was the palate cleanser, which is why people hold that game in high regard, because it was AC Japan before we actually got AC Japan, right? So I see why there is going to be like rampant comparisons to Ghosts and this game in particular. But I mean, if both of them are good games, we both win. So I don't see all the issues there. And it's very funny that folks believe that Ghost is like super accurate. It probably did a lot to respect the culture of what it was going for. But in terms of being historically accurate, I 100% doubt it. I bet there is things with the Mongols. Someone told me earlier, and I'm paraphrasing this, so if I get it wrong, I apologize, but they said that like even the invasion of the Mongols was different because one of the Japanese sort of warriors like decided to hide and wait until the Mongols came to them, and I think in the game it's portrayed in a very different light, where the Mongols like did an instant assault, and the Japanese were already there, as opposed to just waiting it out and having a fight there in real life. So again, if you say that Ghost of Tsushima is an accurate representation of that sort of invasion, then I just believe that you don't understand historical liberties and historical fiction and taking liberties. It's a video game, dude. I just want to be a badass fucking samurai that cuts shit up, right? I know that not everything is going to be historically accurate to the time period, and there's going to be some inaccuracies, and it's going to happen. You could cite them, you could talk about them, but ultimately, I'm like, does this bring down the value of the game to say the entire game is bad? No, it doesn't to me. It doesn't, right? I could care a fucking shit ton less, all right? For many of our team creating Assassin's Creed games set in feudal Japan, yeah, I read that. Okay. So since the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we received many positive reactions, but also some criticism, including from you, our Japanese players. Again, I said there are some Japanese people that exist that probably don't like this, but I believe in a wide spectrum. Is there really all Japanese people hating on this game? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I stake my life on that sentiment. I believe there were Japanese people defending the game. There were also Japanese people saying that Yasuke was a samurai. We saw it in videos. There was some push and pull in between. There was the negativity and the positivity. But once again, I believe the main element that we're missing is that people are saying this game is going to be disrespectful to the Japanese. And I'm just like, what can you wager that on outside of just a few inaccuracies and also just Yasuke's history? I believe that is up for the game to decide when it comes out this November, and we'll see how rich it is with history, and we'll see also how much they change, and we'll see also what is the treatment of the Japanese people when the game launches, all right? And I believe the main element is that the game should be a fun game, despite having undertones or things of that nature. That should be accepted, you know, when making a story. I believe one of the Resident Evil 5 producers said that some of this is overblown, and he's Japanese. We made a game about going to Africa and fighting Majini there, and that was deemed as controversial still, even though the game had a good reason for explaining it. Again, when it comes to these issues, sometimes it could be just a big bundle of opinions on them. But are they real issues? Probably not. Again, first and foremost, the video game is important. We share your passion for history and deeply respect your care for historical and cultural integrity of your rich heritage, which is signifying that, of course, we respect the Japanese culture or whatnot. They're about to really get into it here. Your interpretation of what they respect and disrespect, I mean, you know, that's all on you. I'm not here to tell you that. I just think that, once again, that is a bit of PR in the middle of what is coming, which is we would like to address a few points to clarify our intentions and creative decisions. And we go to the next one. our overall authenticity efforts. We have put significant effort into ensuring an immersive and respectful representation of feudal Japan. As I said for this, whether it lives up to that representation remains to be seen, but from what I gather from most trailers, you are mostly playing an assassin or samurai in a Japanese setting, which is kind of prototypical if you ask me of what transpires with games based in this time period. A lot of games focus on those factors, and they try to either have enriching stories, gameplay, or stylistic choices that will suck you into the world. And even if they are not wholly accurate, it can still be a good time if done right. So that's a wait and see affair, in my opinion. However, our intention has never been to present any of our Assassin's Creed games, including Assassin's Creed Shadows, as factual representations of history or historical characters. Instead, we aim to spark curiosity and encourage players to explore and learn about the historical settings we get inspired by. So, once again, this is a no-brainer, right? This is the part where it's a no fucking brainer, and I don't understand how people don't get it. It's not 100% factual to real life. That's what they're telling you, all right? And there's going to be characters based in reality like Yasuke, but there's going to be some historical history with how he develops in the game. All right. This is still a work of fiction, no matter how much it's sliced, no matter how much people hate me saying this. This is still a story with a fictional progression. And with that comes historical fiction, where it's essentially the same as alternate history. Like, World War II fucking happened in Resistance Fall of Man, but did we have like a Chimera invasion? No, we did not. That's them toying with the setting. That's them toying with the characters. That's them toying with, you know, real to life events with altered history to fit the scope of a fun video game. And I don't understand how there's people that don't get this concept. Assassin's Creed Shadows is first and foremost designed to be an entertaining video game that tells a compelling historical fiction set in feudal Japan. They are telling you what has been on the wall the entire time, and I agree with it. Our team extensively collaborated with external consultants, historians, researchers, and internal teams at Ubisoft Japan to inform our creative choices. So, again, this is also put in the ether. They said they consulted with people, collaborated with people that know their shit. Whether it stands up to the test of time, it remains to be seen. But this is gonna definitely be used as ammunition if they don't get just the vibe and the general like sort of gist of the feudal period down pat to a point where it's like, you know, this should be a fun, engaging setting. If they don't get that down, then this is going to be some heavy ammunition. Let's go onward. Despite these sustained efforts, we acknowledge that some elements in our promotional materials signifying this box where they got like incorrect kanji, and I'm just like, I'm gonna be real with you, like, who fucking, like, dude, there's misspellings, incorrect kanji, bad mistranslations all the time, even in some Japanese games. Capcom is like super guilty of it in some titles where they get like a lot of English incorrect, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's funny when it happens, but at the same time, I feel like it's such a common issue that who cares? I definitely don't care. All right, if you super care about incorrect translations and you want to correct them, fine. But in my personal opinion, I believe that people are behind these video games and they're going to make localization mistakes. It's just common. So, in our promotional materials, have caused concern within the Japanese community, signifying that box I talked about where they got incorrect kanji. And again, it should be signified, but once more, it's like it's not the biggest deal in the world, dude. I swear to God, it's like you're gonna get translation issues, you're gonna get people getting it wrong. It just tends to happen. It's like, you take the punches and you roll with it. We sincerely apologize. So at least they're saying, hey, we're sorry, for the people that are super like tilted about that. All game footage presented so far is in development. So I guess that's like an additional reminder to people saying, oh, this game looks unfinished or this animation looks a little bit out of pocket. I never liked the idea of people prejudging an alpha, all right? I feel like that's bullshit. At least wait until the fucking game is finished. I didn't like when people were doing that with the pre-alpha footage for GTA 6 and Wolverine. Like, we're talking about games that are not even out yet. It's a shit argument. It's a shit blanketed statement. Oh, the game looks trash because it's unfinished. Well, no shit, Sherlock. It's a pre-alpha. Like, what are we talking about here? Which is why when GTA released that trailer, the official trailer, and people were like, the graphics look shit for GTA 6, and now they released the trailer and like people are glazing it. Again, I don't understand folks who just don't think at all first before opening their mouth, all right? So everything so far is in development. The game will keep evolving until launch. Based on your constructive criticism we have received, we will continue our efforts until we I read that wrong, I'm sorry. Based on the constructive criticism we have received, we will continue our efforts until we put this game in your hands and beyond. So again, I guess maybe that means like post day launch patches maybe, or content, but they're gonna keep working on the game until it's gold, which is what every company will do in a situation like this. We want to clarify that while we have been consulting with many people throughout the development process, they are in no way responsible for the decisions that are taken by the creative teams in the interest of gameplay and entertainment. Which I assume is folks believing that anyone involved in the process of like consulting, or this whole Thomas Lockley thing where they bleed in his appearance on a podcast, because apparently he edited like a Wikipedia or whatever. They believe that he is in prime development of the game or the story, and I believe that people don't understand what the word consultants means. Again, it does not mean that everything a consultant does is going to end up in the final blueprint of the game. They're basically like overpaid or overglorified interns, right? Their input is not going to have a far reach for realistic R&D. It's like taking input, and whether you take that input or reject it, that's up to the main team. Again, it's a massive understanding of game development, and this is, well, the era that we live in with these young stupid kids online trying to believe that they're smarter than anyone else. All right, I'm just not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what a lot of this behavior is. People do not understand the place of a consultant and actual game development, because again, those ideas could be banned, those ideas could be not utilized, they're not actual finalized development, and the game is still being worked on. That's what they're telling you. Subsequently, we respectively request that any criticism not be directed at our collaborators, both internal and external, and I believe good luck with that is the internet, so people are gonna slice that either way. Creative liberties and historical interpretations or inspirations. While we strive for authenticity in everything that we do, Assassin's Creed games are works of fiction, once again repeating themselves, inspired by real historical events and figures. From its inception, the series has taken creative license and incorporated fantasy elements to craft engaging and immersive experiences. The representation of Yasuke in our game, The Elephant in the Room, is an illustration of this. His unique and mysterious life made him an ideal candidate to tell an Assassin's Creed story with the section in the setting of feudal Japan as a backdrop. While Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we acknowledge that this is a matter of debate and discussion. We have woven this carefully into our narrative, and with our other lead character, the Japanese shinobi Nanaue, who is also equally important in the game. Our dual protagonists provide players with different playstyles. We greatly value your feedback and encourage you to continue sharing your thoughts respectfully. While we understand that meeting everyone's expectations is very difficult, we sincerely hope when Assassin's Creed Shadows launches on November 15th, players in Japan and around the world would appreciate the dedication, effort, and passion we have poured into it. So essentially saying, we just hope you like the game. And then as Yasuke, again, they say they do acknowledge it is a matter of debate whether you find him as samurai or retainer. All right. But they said they have woven this carefully into the narrative, as well as other things with the lead character, making it equally important to the game and the story they're trying to present. The way I see that is that they know that all of this is going down. They're not claiming to be super accurate, but people are trying to spotlight them and gaslight and believe that they are. And this whole lineage of Assassin's Creed games, like, we've been around real timers in the series. We understand fist fighting the Pope is not real, and it never happened in the Vatican. All right. So I do believe that there is a giant side to this that is overblown. They acknowledged the mistake that they made with the calligraphy box, and they said that, we're sorry about that. So at least they apologized, but I'm sure people are gonna be like, oh, you're not sorry, fuck you. It's like you can never, this is the thing with the internet I find jarring, is that when it comes to feedback or anything like that, or it's always met with like very destructive elements and not a lot of room to improve, because people are just kind of like, well, fuck you. You can't have a first shot at anything. And we're not going to give you a second shot at all. And I understand the mentality to some extent, but it's not a fair shake at all. If they fucked up that box and apologized for it, it's a big whatever burger. At least they acknowledged it. Like some companies, they will spit in your face and not acknowledge shit and not care at all. So the fact that this response came out is still, I give them the benefit of the doubt, because I'm just kind of like, I want to see how all of this develops into the game at launch. And if it is like a decent story, a decent game, I'll call it as such. If it is not a decent game or a decent story, I will talk about it in my review. But I do believe a lot of prejudging, some weird aura here, a lot of agenda pushing within this in terms of like just simply going against the backdrop of how they handled this series so far. I believe that people should just like fucking chill, like just let the game come out on its own merit and it will be judged from there. Like anything else in between that is just sort of speculation, and speculation is just not a fact on what the quality of this game is going to be. This is Renegade Operative signing off. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this video, and once again, take care. Also, PS, I'm not taking the Japanese LARPers or the people that pretended to be the Japanese. I'm not taking them with a grain of salt. If you didn't listen to the last video, then I'm not taking them at face value. I do believe that you should, once again, if I didn't say it already, you should look at things and statements being made and stuff like that and question them first before actually trying to say, oh, that person's valid, 100% valid, because they conform to my agenda. I don't believe that there aren't certain people trying to paint a narrative and be Japanese people and be LARPers or argue with Japanese people in like English language over their opinions as well, just because they believe that, hey, we had a girl version of Nobunaga Oda in an anime. I believe we're good. I think we're fine. We'll survive, okay? There are some Japanese people that are rational. They know that they change their historical history and characters all the time in fiction, and they're completely fine with it. There are some people that are completely fine with it, and I believe that whole Japanese diet thing, the guy who apparently got kicked out of 4 terms. I don't think that he has the staying power that he says he does, and I don't believe that this game should be banned just because you believe it has inaccuracies. I believe, like, it's so funny that people are saying, I hope this game gets banned worldwide in Japan, gets taken off shelves, when I thought we were in the anti-censorship era where people are kind of like, you know, I don't want games to be deplatformed, or I don't want shit to be taken out. So rules for thee but not for me. That's kind of what you're doing with that, right? I was like, okay, I understand. Like, not all people on the internet are the most rational people. Sometimes they make blanketed statements, sometimes they make contradictions. You know, it rolls with the punches. They don't want to hear that, of course, because the truth hurts. Like, the truth fucking hurts sometimes, man. But again, I think this was a long time coming. I believe this statement was going to be illustrated sooner than later, and quite honestly, we got it now at the apex of a lot of drama going on with AC, and in the form of at least them taking artwork from Google. I will say that, you know, once again, that is something that could be taken hold of. I did not deny that in the comment section. I said, if they take someone's art, then that person should be compensated. It should be some compensation there, because again, they made it, so they're entitled to getting some royalties. If they don't, it should be a problem. But once again, this is also a thing that happens in the annals of time. We've seen this with Naughty Dog, we've seen this with Capcom taking artwork and putting it in their game, and the artist is like, hold up, no. It's like, no. No matter what you think, it's like, no. So that's another common situation that happens, and again, I believe that the artist should be compensated for that if that is the case. So once again, I think I covered everything here, but I know there's going to be someone that misinterprets this video, and all I got to say is, well, you know, what can I say to you? You know, there's one thing I could say. First and foremost, get down right on your knees and suck my dick.